Hello everybody, AJ Ryzik here, and today we are continuing in my series of tutorials for the new Linux Mint users out there. Yesterday I did a video on how to install Linux Mint. Today we're assuming that you've got your installation complete, and okay, now where do we go from there? For the most part, Linux Mint is pretty much ready to go out of the box, but there's a few things that you might want to do before actually getting started on getting some work done. Nothing terribly complicated, so I'm going to go over that, and while we're at it, I'll talk a little bit about how to add additional software and how to set up your printers, all that kind of stuff. So let's start with on the software end. Let's start with doing updates. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can go to your menu and look for updates, and you can see if you type in update in the search, you can pull up where it says Update Manager, and then if you go down to the panel on the bottom, you can see this little shield thing here. If you click on that, it'll take you to updates as well. So let's go and we'll just click on Update Manager here, and you'll get this pop-up, and this will pop up the first time that you use the Update Manager. And you can see where it says this tool provides your operating system with software and security updates. Please choose an update policy. This one that says don't break my computer, the only thing it's essentially going to do is security updates. Okay, so your programs, they're going to stay the same old program, but you're going to get security updates. This one in the middle, where it says optimize stability and security, recommended for most users. Only select updates which are known to be safe or which do not impact critical parts of the operating system, but also show me security and kernel updates. So there's that one. It's kind of the middle of the road. And then at the bottom, it's always update everything. It's going to show you everything to update. And I'm going to go with that option. Generally speaking, starting from the top, moving to the bottom, up at the top, essentially whatever you update, it is not going to hurt your system at all. And as you move further and further down, there's more and more of a chance of an error. But to be quite honest, I think all of the options are pretty safe. So I'm just going to go with the always update everything. Click OK, and you can see it opens up our update manager. Now, you will get this message at the top. Do you want to switch to a local mirror? Depending on where you are located, this may going with a local mirror, it may speed up the process of doing updates. So I always go with finding a local mirror. Very easy to do. Just click the OK button. You're going to want to put in your password. Okay, and you can see right here where it says main. You can go and click on that, and it'll pull up a list of all of the servers that have the updates for the main repository, or the main source of software. And it'll basically run a speed test on all of those, and that way you can find the fastest. Now you may find you pick the fastest one, but you get errors. Okay, well then obviously there's something wrong with that particular, or it's not a good quality source for your update. So don't pick that one. Pick maybe the next fastest one. In my case, the main Linux Mint repository is the fastest anyway, so we're just going to pick that one. Click apply. And then the base. Okay, now if you're unfamiliar with that is, Linux Mint is based on Ubuntu. In the case of Linux Mint 18, 18.1, and when they come out with 18.2, 18.3, and so on, all of those will be based on Ubuntu 16.04. So we're basically going to do the same thing with the Ubuntu repositories, or the software that's coming from Ubuntu. We're going to find the fastest mirror for that as well. It does the same thing. We click on it, and it'll start searching through all these different repositories, find who's the fastest, and we'll just give it a minute. And I want to grab a drink while it's doing that. So it looks like right here, the steadfast.net/Ubuntu, that is my fastest mirror, so we're going to apply that one. And we're going to update the cache. Okay, and now we can close this screen up. And now we can go back to our updates. Now let's click the refresh button since we made those changes to the repositories, or our sources from where we're getting our updates. And I'm going to click select all and install all the updates. I'll ask you for your password, so we'll put that in. See if I can type today. And the process begins. And I have not done any updates to this system yet. Oh, that was pretty quick. That didn't take long. Oh, looks like we got more updates. There we go. Let's go and select all of those. Click install updates. Password. And you may have noticed, for those of you that are coming from Windows, you do a fair amount of putting in your password on things here. Linux, and not just Linux Mint, but other Linux distributions, they're much more secure than Windows is. So you will find yourself putting in the passwords a lot. So I'm going to pause the video while all these updates go on, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, all the updates are finished, and you can see we get this little message that says update is complete, successfully all applies to all changes. You can now close the window. Now, while we're on the update manager, you can update, besides all of these different applications and pieces of software, you can also update the Linux kernel. That is, I guess you could say, the core components of your Linux distribution. If you go to Linux kernel, it's under view, you'll get this warning that pops up. The Linux kernel is a critical part of the system. Regressions can lead to a lack of networking, lack of sound, lack of graphical environment, or even the inability to boot the computer. Only install or remove kernels if you are experienced with kernels, drivers, DKMSS modules, and you know how to recover a non-booting computer. Now, your system can, if you are on using Linux Mint 18 or 18.1, they are using the 4.4 series kernel. You can upgrade to the 4.8 kernel. Now, having said that, most people, unless you have a very, very new computer or some very new peripherals, you are probably not going to notice the difference between kernel 4.4 and 4.8. However, just for teaching purposes, I will show you how to do it here, and it's really easy to do. You just select right here where it says the 4.8 kernel. We're going to go with the latest. We'll click install. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes. It'll ask you for your password. And it will begin downloading and then installing the new kernel. So when this finishes, you will need to reboot your system. So I'm going to let this kernel download and then install. I'll reboot my computer, and then we will pick up the video once that is finished. The next thing that I will show you how to do is installing software. Alright, we are back. We've installed Linux kernel 4.8 series and we rebooted our system. So now let's install some software. Now, if you are coming from a Windows environment, things are a little bit different as far as installing software here. Linux Mint, not only does it have a lot of software that's already installed for you, but you also have access to what they refer to as software repositories, which is online. They're online repositories of software. You don't have to go out and find these files to download and do all the installation. It will do it all for you. So let's go and we'll start with the software manager. This is the first of the software tools that are installed by default for you. So there's the software manager, and it asked for a password, but it popped up on my other screen, so you really can't see it from where you're at. Let me put in my password. Alright, here is our software manager. Now, the software manager is a graphical way to find different pieces of software. You can look at reviews on that software. You can add reviews so other people see what you thought of it. Like I said, you can browse. You've got a search function right here. So let's take a look at, I don't know. Let's go to Internet. And we've already got Firefox installed, and you can see where it shows Firefox. It's got a little check mark there. I use FileZilla, so let's go ahead and install that. So double click on it, give it a second. It will give you a little description of it, and then you can come down here and see reviews. You can add reviews yourself. All you need to do now is click install, and it will install that piece of software for you. Simple as that. And like I said, you can either do a keyboard search, you can browse, however you want to find stuff. Now the other tool that Linux Mint has installed for pulling up software and installing them from repositories is called Synaptic Package Manager. Put in our password. Oh, popped up on my other screen, so here it is. Okay, Synaptic Package Manager, very similar as far as how it works. However, there's no pictures, and you don't have access to those nice reviews and all that kind of stuff. But you can search through packages, and it's got a whole bunch of different ways to sort through stuff. You can see that you can just search through everything. You can go through by status, by origin. You can make some custom filters. It's all kinds of different ways that you can search for software in here. Now, something that I need to install is Dropbox. If you're not familiar with Dropbox, it is an online storage that you can set up, and I think it's 5 gigabytes that you get for free, and then after that you have to pay for more storage space. But there is integration that you can get for various Linux distributions. So let's do the Dropbox package. So you see Dropbox, and if you come down here where it says Nemo Dropbox, now the version of Linux Mint that we're using here, we're running the Cinnamon desktop, and the file manager is called Nemo. So I'm going to pick the Nemo-Dropbox package, and if you go and click on that, pick Mark for installation. If there's any what they refer to as dependencies, which is things that you need to install so that you can install this piece of software that you want, it'll list them there. So it shows what we need there. We'll click Mark, and now just go and click apply, and it'll give you a little summary here. 3 new packages will be installed, how much space, how much to be downloaded. Click apply, and boom, just wait for it to do its thing. And that's really all there is to it. Snap the package, made it very easy to work with. Click close, and we are essentially done with this now. While I'm on the subject of Dropbox, now that Dropbox is installed, I need to set it up. So let me go to my menu, type in Dropbox, and basically what we did was, all it did was install the stuff that's needed to install Dropbox. I know that sounds like you know, kind of crazy, but yeah, that's what it did. Okay, so it's downloading all the stuff that I need so I can set up my Dropbox. Okay, and you get this thing that pops up. It'll ask you for your email and password and to sign in. And for obvious reasons, I'm not going to let you guys see that. Okay, and then after putting that stuff in, you get this little message: congratulations, your Dropbox was set up successfully and is installed. And then it'll ask you if you want to open up your Dropbox folder. If you click on that, it'll open up your file manager with a folder for Dropbox. So now, from this point on, if you want to save something to Dropbox, all you need to do is save it to the Dropbox folder that is in your file manager, and it will automatically be synced with your online storage in Dropbox. Okay, so we've installed stuff from repositories, but now what if you know, there's something that it doesn't have a repository? You know, you want to go out and get something that and there's a file that you download to install it. Now you can't use the Windows execute files, which are what you would use to install Windows application, and those are those applications that they end in .exe. But you can use what they refer to as Debian files, which end in .deb. So let's open up Firefox. Let's say, for example, you are not a fan of Firefox and you like Google Chrome. So let's type in Google Chrome. If you like the Google Chrome browser, we'll just do a search for that. And right there, download Google Chrome. So let's click on download Google Chrome. We want the 64-bit .deb package for Debian and Ubuntu based distributions. If we were on Fedora or OpenSUSE, they've got this .rpm file that you could use for essentially the same thing. But we want 64-bit deb, accept and install. I'm going to save the file, click OK. Okay, now that it has downloaded, let me close that up, and we'll pull up our file manager, and probably that downloaded to the downloads file. And yes, I know I've got a lot of stuff in my downloads file. You can see right here, here is what we just downloaded: Google Chrome stable. And we're going to right click that and select open with GDebi package installer. Now what this is an installer. It allows you to install things that come in that .deb file so that you can install that software. So you can see it gives you a little description, some details, what's included. basically what we want is what right here where it says install package. So we'll click that, type in our password, and it will install that package for us. And you can see it's installing. And it tells you package Google Chrome was installed. We're going to close, and we'll close up this little GW tool, and we're basically done with it. Okay, now that we've got all that done, let's take a look at a few other things that you might want to do before you get rolling on working on productivity kind of stuff. One is what you may refer to as additional drivers or proprietary drivers, and these are drivers for maybe video cards or whatever type of processor you got. They're generally on a variety of those different kinds of, like I said, cards and stuff like that. There may be an open source version of the software to run it, and there may be a proprietary version available as well. So if you go and you can see where we've got our little welcome screen where it says drivers, and put in your password. Linux Mint will take a look at the pieces of hardware that are used in your computer, and it will check its software sources to see if there are any proprietary versions of software or drivers available for that particular hardware or whatever you want to call it. And in my case, and I've already done this, but I just wanted to demonstrate how to do this. The AMD processor that I'm using, there is proprietary software, proprietary drivers available for it. So I've chosen that, and it's just simply a matter of picking that, clicking apply changes, allow it to do its thing. It'll install that new driver, and then you'll need to reboot your system afterwards. And like I said, besides the processor, you may have this for video cards and maybe sound cards, that kind of stuff. So there's that for getting yourself started. And another thing is printers. And unfortunately, I can't show every printer just because a lot of them are going to be different. But for a lot of printers, there are drivers available, so you don't have to go out and install this disk that you got from the manufacturer. You don't have to go through all that. So let's go and we'll just type in a search for printer, and you can see where it says printers. And you can see right now I don't have anything configured yet. You can click add, and in my house I have a networked HP printer. It is let me take a look over here, HP OfficeJet Pro 8600 Plus, and under network printers you can see it's listed right there. So I can click that, and I've noticed that this tool seems to lag a little bit, so just kind of be patient with it. So click on that, and it'll show you down here connections, how do you want to connect to it, and you can see right here it automatically selected HP Linux Imaging and Printing HPLIP. That's what we want. Click forward. It's searching for the drivers and its repositories. Do I have the duplexer installed? Yes, I do. Click forward, and you can give it new names and descriptions. We'll just call it the home printer. Really don't need to put in a location. You could if you wanted to. Do I want to print a test page? Print test page. And you can probably hear the printer printing. It printed its test page. There she comes. And everything looks the way that it should. So we're good to go on that. And then you can see popped up a little settings thing so that you can change policies on it, whether it's enabled, accepting jobs shared, all that kind of stuff. Access control, installable options, printer options, um, media source, all that kind of stuff. Double-sided printing. This is something I always want double-sided set as the default. If a rare occasion shows up that I only want something printed on one side, I'll select it at that point. And container level, all that kind of stuff. And so now, since it's the only printer that I've got set up, it's going to be my default printer. But from here, if you had multiple printers installed, you could go and select what your default is. So we got all that stuff taken care of, and I think that about covers all the stuff that you need to get done before you can actually start, getting to work on your Linux Mint desktop. We've got everything updated. We've installed some extra software, and got all of our drivers, and I think we're good to go. So I will have some more Linux Mint videos, some more tutorials coming soon. So if you're a new user to Linux, be sure to check those out, and hopefully I can help you out with questions and all that kind of stuff. And as always, if you have comments, questions, all that kind of stuff, leave it down below in the video description. I'll try to get to it as soon as possible. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe, and I hope to see you all on the next video. Thanks a lot.